Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Hello Americas What's Cooking, here every Thursday on LinkedIn Live at 2 p.m. Eastern. My name is Xenia Pola. I'm the Regional Director for ICCA North America, hosting our live chats. And I encourage everybody in our audience to please give a shout out and ask questions of my guest today. And without further ado, I'm welcoming my guest, Greg Talley. Hello, welcome, Greg.
Hey, Senya, great to be with you this afternoon, this evening, whatever the case may be.
And you are dressed very warmly. Tell us where you are.
I'm actually in the middle of sub-Saharan Africa in Kenya, and we're in the middle of the Rift Valley where at night it can get down into the 50s. So it's a little chilly and they don't have central heat. You don't have heat, you don't have air conditioning here. And so it's a little cool tonight.
So also just for anybody watching at the moment, if Greg does fall off, that is probably the internet in Kenya. Please bear with us. We will have him back shortly in case that does happen. Before
Exactly.
we started, Greg, could you just introduce, for those who don't know you, who you are and what your company does?
Sure. So I'm president and CEO of Tally Management Group. We are a 35-year-old association management company that also is a PCO, and we work with national and international associations. So that's our main business here in the United States. And then I have an AMC PCO based in Nairobi, Kenya for serving Africa, and then a joint venture in India. So we do association management and PCO work globally.
And you are having a couple of shout outs and fans in the audience today. Paul Griffin from Mauritius saying, welcome, Greg. Greetings from Boston. Thank you, Paul, for joining us again. And our dear friend Eduardo Chaillo is also saying hello. Hola to you, my friend. Greg, I'm jumping right into it. We are keeping this always nice, sweet, punchy. You have been in the thick of things with us at ICCA with both of our hybrid congresses in 2020 and 21. And you were really instrumental in helping us in this transition. What does hybrid mean, and making those monster projects work and be successful? Do you see anything similar happening with your clients? Are they also going hybrid? Are they all just primarily virtual? What are you seeing?
So, well, first of all, you're right, Senya. We had some exciting times gearing up for the 2020 International Convention and the 2021 Annual Congress. Truly amazing, and just all kinds of time and effort on the part of the staff, volunteers, all of our vendors that just did an amazing job to try and keep us together when a time we couldn't meet face to face. And I think it really, when I look globally, if you will, I think it is so varied based on the sector you're in, based on the nature of your organization and your attendee base. So I think we're actually all still trying to figure this out. And I don't know that there is a standard because, again, it varies. So much by your audience, so much by their connectivity, by what they want and how they want to receive it, that I think everyone's still trying to figure out how do we level set if we can assume we're not necessarily going back to normal, though I think a lot of folks are just trying to go back to face, which I fully understand. But from an association perspective, that's a little risky because, as we saw in the recent headline from Freeman, we're leveling off in North America. That's not necessarily true in the rest of the world, but in North America, we're leveling off at 65%. Where are the other 35%? And so I think if that's true, then from an association standpoint, we're really concerned about understanding that other 35% and how do we meet their needs, as well as we discovered during the pandemic, we were reaching a broader audience. How do we keep them engaged? How do we bring them back into what we're trying to do? So, long way of saying, I think we're all still trying to figure this out, and there is no hard and fast answer.
And even though it is still in this bubble where of uncertainty, and do you see associations tending to go more towards wishing to be back in person, or do you see it also on the other side of the scale, that some associations are really looking, oh, we've learned we can only do virtual, and we'll do that for now, from now on? And has it anything to do with the field they're in, with the subject line?
So I think it absolutely does, which is why I think it's really driven by sector and then driven by organization. So where everybody is trying to figure that out is, the nature of my audience. Can I get away with just going back to all face to face and that's it? End of story. We're done. Thank you. That was fun, but this is all we're going to do. And a lot of other associations saying, no, we can't step away. We can't go that far back. We need some virtual presence. Our audience is demanding it now. What and at what price point? How much do we provide is where everybody's trying to still figure this out. And then I think we've all come to the conclusion that trying to serve two masters at the same time and give equal weight to both audiences is almost impossible and really expensive. So I think that leaves everybody trying to figure this out to some degree based on those factors that I mentioned earlier.
And you are raising that, and to your point, I'm hearing that as well from a lot of the associations. The cost factor is really the breaking point for a lot of our supplier community to consider. Is there any other client sentiment you would like to share on behalf of associations ICCA members should be mindful of?
Well, I think it kind of comes back to old stories, right? And old messages. What is your client trying to achieve? Where are they on this kind of spectrum of what they're trying to do for whom? And I think the danger is there's a small percentage of associations that are probably really marching forward into the future and excited about trying new stuff and have the budget and the wish list and everything else. For everybody else, this is a struggle and they need help. So I think from our supplier community, it's really understanding what we're trying to do, who we are, who we're trying to serve, and then what have you seen other clients do like ours that you can bring ideas and be solution providers to what we're trying to do. And it isn't always about the money. At the end of the day, we're here to serve an audience and serve a greater objective from an association standpoint. So the more you understand that, the easier I think we can find common ground to figure out what we can achieve together that's going to help us both win.
And to your point, it's back to basics, right? Know your audience, know the purpose of your meeting. That's equally important for the meeting planner themselves, the organizer, as well as the supplier side as well, because you can only offer solutions if you understand who your client is.
Exactly. I think the other piece that gets lost in this, and Senya, you and I lived this for those 2 years, is the time. So the money is one piece of it, right? That it's expensive. It's another investment. It's the time that staff has to take to understand this technology, to understand how we prep speakers differently, how we manage the technology, how we interact with the technology. That time, of course, it's just layered on what you're doing for a face-to-face event. So I cost, but I don't think we actually talk about the human cost as it relates to staff and or the volunteers that you're involving in a program committee or dealing with speakers or what have you. It is a big time commitment in addition to what you normally had to do.
And that is really having a huge effect on the workforce challenges we are seeing today in this whole space. For both sides, the association as well as the supplier side, because of that heavy time commitment.
And I think we've both heard it from both sides. I know I have association colleagues who just kind of say, you know what, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I enjoy building a face-to-face, getting to know all my attendees, getting to, really dig down in with my speakers and what we're trying to achieve. Now you've given me this whole extra thing of work. I don't want it, or it's not fun anymore. It's not what I want to do. And then you have others who've been, excited by the challenge and have wanted to dive in and really grab that technology and figure out how to make it work the best for them and their organization. So it runs the gamut on both sides, I think, and in terms of where the comfort zone is. And again, what are we trying to accomplish together?
And I was just on live chat earlier today talking about a venue design out of all things. And a lot of client frustrations are that their delegates are not having the capacity, the infrastructure for the new events, which are requiring, you have to have chargers available, those private meeting spaces and areas, relaxation areas, and how slow maybe the meetings industry is in adapting to this change and to their business models.
Well, I think that really gets us down to event design, and where I think there is some interesting things to look at this. And again, it's going to depend on your sector, it's going to depend on your audience and your objectives. But I think if this gives us an opportunity to step back and say, could we dissect our event? Is there stuff that really we shouldn't be taking up time of the on-site attendee when this would be better served in a virtual setting? And I think scientific meetings is a lot of what we've done. You look at that whole poster experience and you say, would that work better there? And come back to, why do people want to come to a live event? What is driving them to come to your live event? And how do you double down on those things that they're saying they achieve while they're there? And networking. Are we maximizing those opportunities? And I can tell you from the science perspective and the scientific meeting, absolutely not. We program from 7 in the morning until 9 at night. There's never enough time. We over program working. And I think this provides us a chance to step back in our individual event spaces and say, if I could start from scratch, what would I do differently? We get the chance to kind of do that now and say, we're serving different audiences. We have an opportunity. So in that, never let a crisis go to waste. I think we can do some redesign. And again, in light of what's happening competitively, what's happening to your audience set that may be saying, I can't give you 4 days anymore out of my life to travel halfway around the world, that are going to be looking for us to give them the solutions for how they still get what they want, but may not show up on site or may not be willing to show up on site for as long.
Totally agree. And do you have any innovative examples, exciting examples of some of those changes you've seen?
Well, I think that really is to kind of come back and I think, again, I speak from the science perspective mostly, where we're really kind of like a goose, foie gras. We are shoving so much content at them that we're actually never letting them stop, talk about what they just heard, interact about that, which is actually what neuroscientists tell us we need to do as humans to actually grasp the concept and be able to immediately relate it to our jobs. And so what we keep doing, I think, as event planners, but a lot of times it's the program committee, we're just taking instructions, over program so much that we never allow for that setup. And if we're not allowing for that setup to actually absorb the information, and we've pretty much agreed we never allow enough time for networking, then we actually haven't done our best job at providing what the audience tells us they come to our live events to see and do. So I think some of this data is getting a really good handle on our audience, what they want, and then look at our events and saying, have we done everything we can to make sure we're meeting the identified need of our customers? And I think that allows us to go in some different directions, that if we come with the data, we can put it to the program committee and build the case for, we don't need to program 12 hours worth of content with 15 breakouts simultaneously. This is crazy. And we've got neuroscience to support us.
And we'll actually have, that's setting us up great to also mention our next week's guest, who will be talking more about how to really repurpose content and continue those scientific researches which have been sparked at meetings, how to really capitalize on it for during the year, so not just leave it as one moment in time. So Paul, it will be really great to hear next week from Sammy on that. If you had a crystal ball, Greg, and you looked into the future, what do you think, how would the meetings look like in 5 years from now?
Wow, so dangerous, because 5 years ago, who could predict where we are right now and what we've been through over the course of the last 3 years? So that's a dangerous question. I'm bullish on the value of face-to-face events. However, I think with everything that's going on in the world that's affecting our attendee base, that we need to understand better. I think we're going to have to do a better job at producing those face-to-face events, and then figure out how do you serve the audience that you may want that isn't going to come for whatever reason. I don't have the budget to travel. I'm not willing to take the time to travel. All those sorts of things we need to understand and figure out better than we've been doing coming into the pandemic. So it allows for this reset. But we fundamentally know we can't do virtually what we can do if we're in a room together without a mask, with a glass of wine in our hands, and what can happen from that. And so far, the technology is getting us closer, but not close enough. So if we can't replace that, then I think we have to figure out how do we do it even better, so that for that person that's on the bubble, gee, I'm really not sure if I can go. It's time out of my calendar. I don't want to be out of the office. I've got budget concerns. Nope. This I have to go to because that program is better than anything I've seen before, and I've got time to network, and that's where and how I want to spend my time. So I do think this is an opportunity for our industry to do better, and I think that also provides the opportunity to partner better with our suppliers, destinations, and venues for how do we create something truly unique, something truly different that is all geared to helping me accomplish what I want out of my live event, the outcomes that I want and need. And that's where I'm going to be looking for the expertise from destinations, help me make it more exciting, give me opportunities to go do things that I wouldn't otherwise be able to do, and for venues to get creative at how we do this together, so that people walk away saying, all right, that's automatically on my calendar next year. That's what I want. That's what I think the opportunity is for us in this industry. And I'm excited about what that means and what it could look like as we go forward.
And that is a very clear call to action for everybody listening, whether they are on the meeting planning side or on the industry side. We can only provide that with a joint collaboration to find those better solutions. I'm not letting you go away before I ask the question, because we are on Hello America's What's Cooking. What are some of your favorite foods, recipes, restaurants? You have an office in Kenya.
Well, first of all, I never cook without wine in my hand. So I don't think you can really enjoy a fine meal without some excellent wine. So that begins. From there, I do enjoy cooking, and I enjoy cuisines from all around the world. So it's really about being kind of adventurous and tasting and trying and enjoying every aspect of life. And this is all part of it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And we are already thinking of a new product coming out of this live chat series to do together a whole cookbook on Hello Americas with favorite recipes. And we'll definitely be coming to you also to share with us what some of those fine foods you like to cook are. For all our audience, if you want to know more about Greg and his company, Tally Management Group, please visit their website, www.tally.com. And without further ado, we are closing off. If anybody wants to be on the show, please feel free to email me at xenia.p@iccaworld.org. And I have already mentioned who will be our next guest, and that will be Sammy from Mauricia, talking about repurposing some of the content, digitalizing content, and making your annual conference last all year round. And a salute to you as well, Eduardo. We'll have a glass of wine when we see you next in Vegas, I guess, Greg, right?
Exactly. Thanks, Xenia, and thanks, everyone. Have a great day, North America.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.